Hey, what is up? I am Axel and welcome to this tutorial on Neo 3 about the samurai style. Okay, I will be teaching you different aspects that I think you should have in mind in order to perfect your playstyle or experiment things on your own. Okay, I will start very light. Okay, we start with the mid stance only, just like in the beginning of the game. There is a little bit of tricks going on, but what I want you to start on specifically is with high and low stance at the very least. Okay, this is what I consider to be the base form of samurai. What we have before you unlock this, I do not consider to be the base form. It's like before that. Okay, so the properties of each stance. Let's start with the mid stance because that's what we start with. Okay, you know the attacks, you know the key pulls and whatnot. I'm not going to talk about that. Okay, I'm going to talk about different things. So I will be using the base moveset at the start. Okay, we have Morning Moon here on all stances and whatnot. Okay, well, I guess I can have, yeah, okay. Now we have it. Okay, cool. So obviously you have Morning Moon right here. Okay, but you don't need to do like a basic attack, before executing it. You can also just do this, a dash attack. Okay, keep in mind that if you do the dash attack with the triangle, you will not be able to do it. Okay, it will be considered also a strong attack. Okay, when I say triangle, I mean a strong attack. When I say square, is light attack. Okay. So another property of the mid stance is you dash. Okay, if you just time your dodges, you dash like this, and if you spam it, you dash into a roll. Okay, that's always been like that in all Neos. I'll talk about an extra detail that is unique to this one in a few, but let's move on to low stance. Okay, low stance is for high mobility. Okay, you have high speed attacks, but they are not too damaging. Okay, same thing, with the heavy attacks, strong attacks. You can also do the same thing. This happens with all stances. Okay, you can do the dash attack into that. So, property about the evasion property in the low stance. Okay. If you dash a spam, you will always, like if you dodge a spam, you will always dash. Always dash, always dash. You'll never get a roll. Okay? That's with the weapon out. Keep that in mind. Now, high stance, obviously. Power attacks. Way more powerful. Also have a strong attack. Usually only one. And same thing as the other ones. You can do that. Okay? Now, what happens? Let's start with mid stance again. When you have the weapon sheathed, okay, and you try to dodge a spam, okay. Same thing, right? Same as mid stance. Nothing really changes if you have the weapon out or not. Let's change to low stance, still with the weapon out, with the weapon sheath. Oh, what happens here? I'm spamming dodge. So here in this one there's a particularity in Neo 3. In Neo 1 and 2, if you had the weapon sheathed, you would be doing the same thing as mid stance. In Neo 3, for some reason, even though you still can like dash around, with the weapon out and whatnot, on low stance you will get 3 dashes and then you will roll if you keep spamming. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but it is the way it works in this demo. And now, of course, on high stance you only roll, okay. But if you have the weapon out, like the weapon sheath, you'll also only roll. So it is one particularity about the sheathed low stance compared to unsheathed low stance in this game. Okay, it will have that triple dash into a roll. As opposed to being like a mid stance or just rolling. Okay, so we covered all of that. Obviously, you know that keep pulsing is really good for canceling your action early on, or if you have more time, you can just recover out of ki, right? Of course. Now, let's add one more element. Let's add flux, okay? And flux 2 as well, because why not? Obviously, let's just say that you're attacking, you know, in your ki pulse, you keep attacking. I'm just using the same attack just for clarity, okay? And then you run out. Now, what if you just want to keep attacking more? Or you want to use the same skill, okay? Let's just say that is the case. So you can do this. Okay, so that's flux 1. Obviously, you can extend it a bit more. And if you were, for example, to do this... Oh, wait a moment. If you don't consume that much ki, then you will be able to continue for longer, right? Okay, so depending on the skill that you have, with Flux 1 you will be able to keep going with that combo more, okay? So, let's add Flux 2 into the mix. Okay, so obviously I was able to do a lot more. Of course, if I were to let the game recover more ki, then I will be able to expand it even more. That had a lot more duration, but again, this is more demanding in terms of ki skill, okay? You have other skills that will let you keep going forever, okay? So for example, let's just say that we acquire on the swords, we acquire the sword ki. Let's say that we acquire that, and then we slot it in on every single stance, okay? Just for simplicity's sake. What? What happens? I can basically keep going forever. Okay, I messed it up a little bit. It's okay. It doesn't matter. You can keep going forever, okay, if you keep doing this. So obviously we can also just add the deflect into the mix as well. You know, for safety and whatnot. Well, let's just put it a bit together, okay? Let's just put it together. So yeah, you want to recover a bit of ki. Make sure that you have enough, you know, in order to attack. All that stuff, okay? So that's what I would conclude the novice dojo with, okay? Just keep that in mind, you know, how to take profit of all of these different mechanics that are in the game, and will help you keep going with your attacks, you know, be more efficient with your gameplay on Samurai. Now, let's move on to something a bit more extra. Here we have the Frost Moon Humanity, Frost Moon Heaven, and then we also have Frost Moon Earth, although I don't really use this much. Now, let's move on to a different target. Right here. Oh, what happened there? I was able to parry that attack with Frost Moon Humanity. Of course, like here, the deflect, very important. I will talk about the axe proficiency in a short while. Let's just finish the fight now. So yeah, Frost Moon Humanity right here allows you to parry an attack or repel an attack is you don't really get a benefit beyond just not getting hit by it. It will consume ki, especially sometimes I've noticed it consuming a lot of ki. So yeah, especially for fanciness, it's very useful. Now, Frost Moon Heaven is more focused on punishing, okay? Okay, so that's Frost Moon Heaven. Right there, I was able to punish a little bit more. Now, of course, you don't need to be in high stance in order to do Frost Moon Heaven, right? Like, you can do it right there. But if you're attacking on low stance, you can still change, you know, flux 1, flux 2, whatever, into Frost Moon Heaven, and of course, into Frost Moon Humanity, and Frost Moon Earth. For the record, the input would be to switch to mid, and then press square again without letting go of the R1, okay, the key pose switch stance button, okay. Now this will complicate things a little bit more, like this. So obviously, as you can see, I have Kurama Sword Dance over here, you know, I have kick over here, I have Morning Moon over there, Morning Moon over here. Then we also have Sword Key, we have True and True, Sword Key over here as well, all that jazz. Now, remember about the key, sorry, the kick over here, Morning Moon over there. Okay, so what happens if you just do this? Oh, saw that? Let's do it again. I attacked on low stance, and then I switched to mid stance or high stance in order to get a Morning Moon instead of the kick that I have on low stance. Alright, so what happens if I just do like a dash attack, for example? I can also get the same thing. Okay, so you can start an attack or start a combo with one stance, and then use that same combo to cue a skill from another stance by switching before the time runs out, basically. Okay, so again, this is a bit more advanced, but this is also true for other weapons. This is not just the sword. You can use, for example, like the axe over here. I'm not gonna mess around much with the skills, but for example, I can remove Heaven and Earth from here, for example, you know. So now if I do this, and I don't have it, of course, but I can just do this. Just like that. Just like that. Very nice, huh? Okay. So there are some exceptions to this rule. Let's go back to the sword. So sadly, while in some weapons it does work, like for example the Odachi, in other weapons it doesn't seem to really work. Sadly, the combo of doing dash attack with the triangle and then using a square does not give you the skill that I have right here, which is Shadow Sword. In other weapons it does happen, like for example the Odachi can do it. Alright, so as opposed to the sword, if you go with the Odachi and you do the same thing, you know. In fact, well, technically I wasn't doing it right, I guess, because that's another thing, another property that that we have. with the Odachi, which I didn't know on my first playthrough. Actually, I I assumed that it wasn't gonna work, and I was wrong. So I'm surprised with that. So yeah, you can do the strong attack, and then I will do the follow-up. Of course, like this. So yeah, with the Odachi, you can actually chain the strong evasion attack into a light attack. I'm not sure if this is intended or if it's something that for some reason is not working currently in some weapons, but yeah, I know it works with the Odachi at the very least. I don't remember if also with the spear right now, but you know, just keep that in mind, okay? If I do high stance strong attack into light attack, it will switch to mid stance, right? What happens if I do low stance strong dash attack into high stance light attack? Oh, I directly switched to mid stance. So all of these things can be incorporated into the combo, okay? Now let's talk about Ars Proficiency. As you can see right there, I was able to chain several attacks, and my Ars Proficiency was still going. That means that whenever you keep doing strong attacks and martial arts, you know, like this thing, or this thing, or even this thing, as long as you keep doing that and you don't get hit or something like that, you'll be able to keep going. Alright? So that's another thing to take into account. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and that you learned something. Remember, this is just me showing you some of the ropes so you can do whatever you want with your playstyle. Stick around to watch some demonstration on all the weapons against Jakotsu Baba. Enjoy!